Good evening, and welcome to Alice Miller's production of And Then There Were None. Before we begin, there are some ground rules that we must follow. First, there is to be no flash photography, as it frightens the actors. That, and we don't want any evidence getting out now, do we? Second, all mobile devices are to be turned off. We don't want anyone calling in or anyone calling out. Third, smoking is prohibited anywhere within the area, and let's face it, you won't be going outside anytime soon, so smoking is also prohibited out there. And if you really do have a need to kill yourself, we can help with that, and we'll do it much more efficiently. And our final and most important rule is to keep your mouths shut, both during and after the show, as we don't want any information about what happens here out. Now, try and enjoy Alice Miller's production of And Then There Were None.
You frightened me.
Sorry, just having a look around the old dump.
Do you have the ingredients I sent for?
Look at these, will you? What kind of idiot likes telling the exact same?
Put that down, Mr. Narracott.
10 little soldiers. Bloke who built this thing spent a fortune on the dump for his wife. Only the best for her. He busted a gut getting all the stuff to the island, and as soon as it was finished, she leaves him for a movie star. He sold up the place, moved back to the city. Last I heard, he popped himself, jumped off a cliff or something. Oh, I'm so sad.
Put that down. Stop it! Break it!
Poor bastard.
Where's the sea salt?
Broke his heart.
There's no sea salt.
Such a tragedy.
Mr. Narracott, salt. There's no salt.
Mrs. Rogers, you're not using your imagination. You're surrounded by salt. The ocean!
Or duck fat.
Sorry?
Duck fat. Fat from the duck.
What's wrong with good old-fashioned lard?
There goes the roast potatoes. My menu will be seriously compromised.
That's a bit of an overreaction.
What would you know, you idiot?
Don't speak to me like that.
I'll speak to you however I damn well please.
Now hang on a second.
The paprika's not smoked!
What?
I wrote down smoked paprika. You've given me sweet.
Sweet.
My stuffed Tuscan peppers won't be
Stuffed?
Smoked.
Smoked.
The recipe is stuffed peppers seasoned with sweet paprika. No, smoked paprika, not stuffed peppers seasoned with sweet paprika. No, they won't be smoked!
I got a pipe somewhere. I could have, blown it for you.
You're a fool.
Now that's unkind.
So stupid.
Don't call me stupid.
Why not? It wouldn't be inaccurate. You're one of the dumbest, dullest, thickest,
Don't say that.
most dim-witted, inarticulate, moronic, imbecilic,
Stop saying
brainless,
that.
gormless, dunderheaded. What other names there for stupid? I'll have to consult my dictionary because you wouldn't know.
Don't call me fucking stupid!
What's the matter?
It's Narracott. He's useless. Forgot half the ingredients of my dishes.
I'm sure we can make do.
I'm a chef! Nobody understands that here. Not you or this lazy excuse for a person.
Be quiet, Irina.
I did my training at the Ritz in London.
Oh, the Ritz. La-di-da, I say.
And here I am stuck on this pinprick of an island in the middle of nowhere, employed to create gourmet meals for 8 people for a whole weekend. And all I have is this half-wit and ex-convict
It's pronounced
to
Australian.
rely on for produce!
You're becoming hysterical. Apologies, Mr. Narracott.
Can't you control
I'll
me?
tell you he can't control you, you dullard!
Irina!
You treat me like a housekeeper.
Go into the kitchen and get ready.
I'm not a housekeeper, I'm a chef, get it? This is the last time I follow your lead with jobs. And you can make the bloody mess in the morning!
Jesus, mate, you got a wife on there.
You must excuse my wife, Mr. Narracott. She's been under a lot of stress since her aunt passed away. They were very close.
I'll be old Jimmy's first bunch. You know what that means? Luggage! Luggage and tits!
There's something about that man. He gives me the creeps. Guest list.
I wonder who these people are. Miss Claythorne, Mrs. Owen's personal secretary, I take it.
She'll probably order me around like a slave.
Please stop! You're complaining, Irina! You have a state-of-the-art kitchen here. Why don't you go and aerate your souffle? I'll greet the guests.
Oh, lovely. And slightly unsettling.
Miss Claythorne!
Mr. Rogers.
Yes, pleased to meet you. I hope you'll be comfortable here.
I certainly will. This is Captain Lombard.
Hello? Pleased to meet you, Mr. Lombard. I'll take your luggage to your room.
Thank you. You said you knew this place?
No, I knew Johnny Brewer, the original owner. Built this place for his new wife, just as Earl Lang the last tile.
She left him for an actress.
He fell apart.
And killed himself. I read about it.
Sad story.
A love story.
The saddest of all.
And here we are.
Yes. Here we are.
Well, I'd better find Mrs. Owens. I'm sure the others will want to meet her.
Don't you? This place is scary.
I wonder where she is.
She'll be here soon enough, I imagine. Drink?
No, thank you. I'm on duty.
Oh, how very professional of you.
Not really. To be honest, I haven't the slightest idea of what I'm doing.
I imagine you're very good at your job.
Then you have an excellent imagination. I have no experience as a secretary.
Really?
None at all. Still, this place is very luxurious.
With enough booze to sink a ship.
You should watch how much you drink.
I will. Cheers.
Mr. Rogers, where is Mr. and Mrs. Owen?
Mr. and Mrs. Owen won't be down from London until tomorrow, Miss Claythorne.
Tomorrow? But...
Forgive me. I thought you knew that.
No.
Here's a list of the guests expected. The second boat's just arriving now.
Thank you. Thrown in at the deep end. You won't go anywhere, will you?
I won't move from your side. I have no desire to be alone with floating deer heads.
Why do you think they ferried just the two of us on the first boat and all the rest in the second?
I bribed the boatman.
What?
You can't blame me. Do you see the other guests?
They seemed alright, but on the dull side.
Dull. They make dead people look like carousing pleasure
You
seekers.
obviously didn't notice Sophie Marston.
How could I not notice it?
She's beautiful
Yes.
and talented.
No.
Of course she's talented. How else did she achieve such fame and fortune?
Let me think. Could it be that she slept with every producer in Europe?
Anybody think of installing a lift in this hole? Hello, Miss Marston. Oh my. It's an honour to meet you. I imagine it is. Just for the weekend.
Almost there, Red Bastard! What are you got in there? Dead dogs?
Where's the telephone? I need to call my manager.
There's no telephone on the island, I'm afraid.
What?
He said this.
I heard what he said!
I'm sorry.
What if I get a new movie offer? Oh, Vogue, what did you mean for the cover of their July edition?
Oh, that would be exciting.
And you're telling me there's no way you can let me know?
Yes.
Because there's no telephone.
Right girl.
Here we are, Miss Marston. Oh, present and accounted for. Whoa! Whoa! Oh!
Perhaps Mr. Narracott could get a message to you in the...
This is outrageous!
Pretty sure nothing would stop matched.
What if you're a homicide murderer?
1 in every 10 they say.
Oh!
One of you is a bloodthirsty killer.
Should I take it to your room, Miss Marston?
That's not true, Mr. Narracott.
Oh, I'll protect you, Miss Marston. Clocker! Sophie Marston, I'm only your biggest bleeding fan!
I could certainly become homicidal. If I met the right victim.
Same here. I'm looking at him. Are you joking with you, mate?
Well, that wouldn't be a problem. I have contacts in the law enforcement department.
May I introduce you to Captain Philip Lombard?
Philip, pleased to meet you.
You're rather dashing. Have we met before?
Certainly not. I don't like most people.
Sorry?
I don't think he gets invited to much
Pity!
love.
I go to loads of parties.
I'm sure you do.
Or I throw them at one of my estates.
That is fascinating, Miss
Wow.
Marston.
I'll invite you next time.
How obliging.
What was your name again?
This is Captain
I could come and collect
I'd
you.
rather you didn't.
Oh, it's no trouble. I adore driving. I have 7 motor cars, and whenever I can, I take one out and speed furiously between my estates. My manager frets, bless him, because I'm so accident-prone.
Where are your estates, may I ask?
But don't worry, I'm an extremely responsible motorist.
well done, you.
I have friends who run red lights, but I never do. I always stop.
Bravo!
I have to say, being on an island with no means of communication is disquieting.
You've not interfere with me around, Miss Marston.
As I said, it's all rather vexatious.
Well placed to meet you. It's a wonderful place you've got
Oh,
here.
no, this is not my place, I'm afraid. I'm Vera Claythorne, Mrs. Owen's secretary. I'm afraid the Owens have been detained and won't be down until tomorrow.
What? I knew I shouldn't have come on this absurd weekend. My manager forced me. I shall have to fire him now.
Can I get you something, Mr.
Davis, to be frank, I could use a drink.
Allow me, Mr. Davis.
Oh, call me William.
What will it be, William?
Whiskey. Awful climb up, but what a view! Reminds me of South Africa, this place.
Which part?
Natal, you know it?
No. Interesting country, I should think.
Got its problems, but it's home to me. I miss it. Occasionally I get post-natal depression. Post-natal depression. It's like postnatal depression, but it's post-natal depression. It's a joke.
My mother had postnatal depression.
Oh God, so sorry, Miss Madison. Please excuse my insensitivity.
How do you do?
General Clinton, isn't it? I'm Mrs. Owen's secretary. I'm afraid the Owens have been detained. May I introduce you to Captain Philip Lombard, Sophie Marston, and William Davis.
Whiskey and soda, sir.
Thank you kindly. Sir, were you in the army?
Yes. Commando.
Good man.
Hated it. Well, not the men in the field, more the general.
What's that?
Good afternoon, Miss Brent.
Where is Mrs. Owen?
I'm Mrs. Owen's secretary. I'm afraid the Owens have been detained. I will see that you're well looked after until they arrive tomorrow.
Indeed. Extraordinary.
Can I get you something?
Water. Tap, not cold.
Philip,
Coming right up.
I think you all met on the boat. This is Captain Philip Lombard and William...
Davis, may I take your bag?
Sure you're looking for something stronger? Gin and tonic? Glass of sherry?
I never touch alcohol.
It relaxes you.
I'm relaxed. I suppose you know, young man, you left us standing there on the wall.
Oh, I'm afraid, Miss Brent, I was...
I find it extraordinary that Mrs. Owen should not be here to receive her guests.
Perhaps she's one of those people who always turns up late.
I reckon that's what she is.
Mrs. Owens is not in the least like that.
Perhaps it was her husband.
She hasn't got a husband. I'd like to go to my room.
Of course, I'll take you there.
You'll find Mrs. Rogers upstairs, Miss Claythorne. She'll show you to the room.
Oh, this is lovely.
How do you do? I'm Philip Lombard. I'm afraid our host and hostess haven't arrived.
Oh, goodness, surprise. I'm Judith Wargrave, King's Counsel.
Can I get you a drink, Judith King's Cup?
I would love a double gin and tonic with a squeeze of lemon. Thank you.
It's an absolute pleasure to meet you, Miss Wargrave. Your reputation for justice precedes you, I have.
Take my bags to my room.
Ah, yes, certainly, Miss Marston. Please, excuse me, Miss Wargrave.
Your drink. Large gin and tonic with a twist of lemon. And if you excuse me, I'm off to explore.
Oh, can I come?
Sure. Why not?
Aren't you going to sit down?
Well, to tell you the truth, Miss Wargrave, you seem to be in my chair.
Am I? I didn't realize you were one of the family.
Oh, I'm not. I've never been here before. It's just, well, this chair's just like the one at the club, and yes, it's about the same distance from the wall, you see.
Would you like to sit here, General?
Oh, that would be lovely. Thank you, Miss Wargrave. I'm a creature of habit, you know.
I dislike change myself, General.
To tell you the truth, I was a bit taken aback by this invite. Haven't been invited anywhere in, well, many years, really. Very nice of them.
Excuse me, General and Miss Wargrave. May I take your bags to your rooms?
Is Constance Cunningham expected this weekend?
Who?
Constance Cunningham.
I don't think so, madam. Unless she is coming down with Mr. and Mrs. Owen.
That is strange.
Allow me, madam. Dinner will be at 8.
Thank you. That'll be all.
I'll go call Rogers.
Strange fellow. Dresses like a hobo.
How are you? William Davis is the name.
Armstrong. Dr. Penelope Armstrong.
Ah, yes, Penelope Armstrong. Never forget a face.
I've forgotten one of my...
Oh, no, nothing like that. I once saw you in court giving expert evidence.
Really? Are you interested in...
Oh, yes, I love it. I read a lot of crime and hang out in courtrooms. For the thrill of it. Drink?
No, thank you. I never touch the stuff.
Oh, mind if I do? Mine's empty.
Go ahead.
I'm looking around the island. Wonderful, isn't it?
A haven of peace.
Too peaceful for some, I reckon.
An excellent place to unwind. I'm a psychiatrist, you see.
I knew that.
Oh. Come by train?
I am not much of a driver.
Some young woman nearly ran me off the road. Reckless. Wish I'd got her damn number.
Aye, we need more people to take down number plates. Turn in offenders.
Yes. If you'll excuse me, I need to see Mr.
Oh, he's not here, I'm afraid. Not due till tomorrow.
Where is the doctor?
Looking for Mr. Owen. I did try to warn her of his significant absence.
Oh, well, dinner will be at
Ah, Rogers! Don't suppose you could put some beer and sandwiches in my room at night? I've fiendish metabolism. I'll make it worth your while.
I'll see what I can do.
There you are, Tom. Why haven't you cleaned up? I suppose you thought I'd come in and do it, because that's what wives do, don't they, Tom? They clean up.
Let's just go and unpack.
I can't wait to break free of this humiliating existence.
All in good time, Irina.
All in good time, Irina. But it's never in good time, is it, Tom? Is it?
This is the last job we ever need.
My great-great-grandfather was a gentleman, you know.
Yes, I know.
Lord Alexander Beauchamp. His son was a gambler, otherwise I would have
Of
been...
independent means. You've told me so many times.
They should know I am part of the gentrified class.
I'll be sure to let them know before dinner.
They're all so superior.
I concur absolutely, my dear. The worst is that Davis. Such a sense of entitlement, but he dresses like a tramp.
I'm not taking another job like this.
I told you, this is the end of our working lives. I only took this one because the salary was so good. It was remarkably good.
Well, not to be good considering what we have to put up with. Making people's beds, for God's sakes, I have a good mind to walk out.
Don't be an idiot.
Why can't I?
Because you're on an island. Look, it's just for the weekend. Then we have the rest of our lives.
This island is eerie. I feel trapped.
Nowhere to go. Can't slip out for a quiet trip.
That's all you think about, isn't it, Tom? Liquor.
Go prepare dinner.
What's the point? It's probably ruined and I haven't got the time or ingredients to fix
What
it.
are you talking about?
What
You have a wagon
am
of
I
people to
talking
cook for, a
about?
kitchen
You
full of
want
food.
that
I don't even want you
broth?
rubbing your hands touching the food.
I'm
You dirty peasant!
Oh, hello, Miss Claythorne. Dinner is almost ready. Why don't you make yourself comfortable and have a quiet drink while I dish it up?
Is everything all right, Mr. Rogers? Can you manage between the two of you?
Yes. Thank you, Miss Claythorne.
Please, call me Vera.
Yes. Thank you, Vera. Irina is a perfectionist. She trained at the Ritz, you know.
Really?
And her great-grandfather was a lord, did you know?
Oh my, well, I shall look forward to dinner in that case. How clearly you can hear the sea.
A pleasant sound.
It's so warm here.
Where are you from?
Oxford.
I assume dresses aren't worn as skimpily in Oxford.
Well, no, unless it's summer.
Are you comfortable wearing that?
I wouldn't have worn it if I weren't comfortable.
Let me give you a piece of advice, Miss
Vera.
Vera. I know Mrs. Owen, and I know for a fact that she doesn't appreciate her staff dressing like they're out to attract the attention of the opposite sex.
Do you think I attract the attention of the opposite sex, Miss Brent?
That's beside the point.
What is the point?
If you want to keep your job, I suggest you refrain from dressing like a hussy.
I beg your pardon.
Well, I don't know for who you've worked in the past, Miss Claythorne.
Vera.
Miss Claythorne, but I can assure you, you are not working for them now.
Are you always so blunt, Miss Brent?
I value honesty.
Good for you.
Girls today have no moral spine. They drink, smoke, and engage in all sorts of improper practices before marriage. Look at that Marston girl. What use is she to anyone? What about Lombard?
What do you object in Captain Lombard? He strikes me as a man who's led a life of service.
The man's an adventurer. Young.
Please don't say young people these days. It's such a cliche.
I beg your pardon.
I'm sorry.
What did you say?
I'm sorry, I wasn't
How dare you speak to me with such disrespect? You and your friend, Mr. Lombard, are emblematic of the type of bold insolence young people dish out to their elders these days. Your attitude is unacceptable, Miss Claythorne, unacceptable.
Please, Miss Brent, I didn't mean to show any disrespect. I apologize for causing you offense. I'm really so very sorry.
I accept your apology.
Thank you, Miss Brent. I would be grateful if you didn't mention any of this to Mrs. Owens. I wouldn't want to make a bad impression on my new employer before I even met her.
I will make no such commitment.
Sorry.
I believe I have moral obligation to inform Mrs. Owens, the kind of person who is on her page.
You don't like youth, do you?
What do you mean?
What I say, Miss Brent. It's clear you don't like young
Oh,
people.
clever girl, well spotted.
Completely bonkers.
What was that? A judge, you say?
Don't be fooled by that benign smile. She's handed out more death sentences than you've had stiff drinks.
Oh, I never drink.
I'd kill for another drink.
Miss Wargrave.
Please, call me Julie.
A word in privacy, if I may.
I consider myself the British Marlene Beatrice.
Very good.
Talented and passionate advocate.
And what do you advocate for?
The rights of motorists.
Oh, how noble!
Could you fix me something strong?
That is very interesting, Miss Brent, but right now I really do need that drink.
Oh, look at this. I hadn't noticed these before. 10 little soldiers all in a row.
Like the rain.
10 little soldier boys going out to dine. One choked his little self, and then there were 9.
9 little soldier boys stayed up very late. I have childhood.
She's still having it.
One of us let himself, and then there were 8 little soldier boys traveling in Devon. One got left behind, and then there were 7 little soldier boys chopping up some sticks. One shot himself up, and then there were 6 little soldier boys playing with the eye. A bumblebee stung one, and then there were 5 little soldier boys going in for law. One got his chance to read, and then there were 4 little soldier boys going out to sea. A red herring swallowed one, and then there were 3 little soldier boys walking in a zoo. A big bear hugged one, and then there were 2 little soldier boys playing with a gun. One shot the other one, and then there was 1 little soldier boy sitting all alone. He went and hanged himself, and
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? You are charged with these indictments, that you did respectively and at different times commit the following. Dr. Penelope Armstrong, you did cause the death of Louisa May Cleves. William Henry Law, that you brought about the death of James Stephen Lendor. Emily Caroline Brent, that you were responsible for the death of Beatrice Taylor. Vera Elizabeth Claythorne, that you killed Peter Ogilvy Hamilton. Philip Lombard, that you are guilty of the death of 21 soldiers. John Gordon Mackenzie, that you sent your wife's lover, Arthur Richmond, to his death. Sophie Jane Marston, that you are guilty of the murder of John and Lucy Combs, Thomas and Irina Rogers, that you have brought about the death of Jennifer Bradley, Judith Wargrave, that you are guilty of the murder of Edward Seaton. Prisoners at the bar, have you anything to say in your defense?
She's all right. She's just fainted. Get some brandy.
Rogers, get brandy!
What's going on
Where
here?
did that voice come from?
Here it is.
Ladies
Oh God, turn it off!
What kind of practical joke was
So
that?
you think it's a joke, do you? Don't get all judgy on us. Don't turn it on. And we must inquire into that.
Oh God, what was that?
I'll deal with her. She's my wife. Irina, pull yourself together.
Did I faint?
Yes, you'll be all right now.
It was that awful voice, like a judgment.
Irina, don't faint again.
Brandy, where's the brandy?
Brandy coming up!
Drink this, Mrs. Rogers.
I'm all right. Just gave me a shock. Who put that record on?
I was just following instructions.
Whose instructions?
Mr. Owen.
And what were Mr. Owen's instructions exactly?
Put the record on when all the guests were gathered in the living room before dinner. I thought it would just be music. I didn't know what was going to be.
It's preposterous! Slinging accusations about like this. Who does this Owens think he is?
That's just it. Who is he?
That's what we must go into carefully. Mr. Rogers, get your wife to bed.
Yes, I'll take her, Mr. Rogers.
Now, we must get to the bottom of this. What do you know about Mr. Owen?
Nothing.
What do you know about the man himself?
Nothing. I've never met.
What do you mean you've never met him?
We've only been here less than a week. We were contacted via a former employer of Irina's at the Ritz. The Owen sent a letter and he passed it on to us.
Carry on.
We arrived here on the 4th, according to our instructions. There was plenty of food and drink, we just needed to set up.
And then?
Well, that's all. Then yesterday, Narracott delivered a letter. Here it is. Saying that Mr. and Mrs. Owens would be detained in London, and they gave instructions about the dinner and the record.
Expensive hotel letterhead.
Oh, excellent quality. We won't get much out of this. We could try for fingerprints, but no, it's been handled too much.
Eulick Norman Owen? What kind of a name is Eulick? Thank you for that, Miss Marsden. You have drawn my attention to a curious point. I think it would be profitable if each one of us were to explain exactly how they came to be here. I received a letter with a very illegible signature. It purported to be from a woman whom I met on a cruise liner a few years ago. So I thought the letter was from Elizabeth Owen. I'm absolutely sure I do not know anyone named Eulick. Have you kept that letter, Miss Brent? I'll get it. Miss Claypool.
I haven't met Mrs. Owens either. I was temping while looking for something more permanent. The agency case recruitment said they were interested in me particularly.
Must have an excellent resume. Were you interviewed?
No.
And?
Well, my first task would be to attend this week where Mr. Owen would be hosting a gathering of several important guests. I was to coordinate their transportation across to the island.
Important guests. I'm flattered.
And so here I am.
Do you often accept appointments without meeting with the employer first?
No, of course not. The salary was excellent. Like nothing I'd earned before.
She's all right. I've given her a cent.
I'll keep an eye on her.
You'll want a drink after that, Doctor.
No, thank you. I never touched a cent.
Miss Marsden.
What?
How did you come to be here?
Miss Owen's guy is a fan according to my manager and wants to invest in my new movie. Obviously, I had to be nice to him, even if that meant hanging out in a creepy house for the weekend.
I see.
I do what it takes. That's why I am who I am, and you look who you are.
Thank you for that, Miss Marsden.
Nobody's, frankly.
Dr. Armstrong.
Under the circumstances, I think I may admit that my visit here was professional.
Professional.
Mr. Owen wrote that he was worried about his wife, Nancy Owen's, emotional health. He wanted a report being done without her being alarmed. He thought that my being a woman would allow me to engage with her as a friend.
And you're sure you've never met them before?
Absolutely sure.
And you didn't think it was an odd request?
No, not at all. Plus, the fee was excellent.
Thank you, Miss Brent. Dear Miss Brent, we met on an ocean cruise through the Hawaiian Islands. I felt we enjoyed a great synergy of spirit, and hope you won't find it too unconventional if I extend to you an invitation.
I'm starting a guest house on a remote island with the intention of offering respectable individuals a place of rest and reprieve from the offenses we witnessed on the cruise, the drunkenness and loutish behavior. I would be greatly comforted if you were to spend a weekend at the house in exchange for a positive word on his behalf to the type of clientele I'm seeking to attract. The weekend has been organized for June 22nd and 23rd. I will forward details for your transportation upon your reply. Yours respectfully, UN. The signature's ambiguous.
I wouldn't have come if I'd known the no drunkenness clause.
Here's my own decoy letter from a friend of mine, Constance Cunningham. She writes in her usual vague, incoherent way, urging me to join her here.
Hey, I've just realized.
In a minute.
But
Wait! We will take one thing at a time, if you don't mind, Captain Lombard. General Mackenzie.
Got a letter from this Owens fellow. Thought I must have met him at the club. He mentioned some old cronies of mine. Excuse the formal style, haven't kept the letter.
Lombard.
Same sort of thing. Invitation mentioning mutual friends. Haven't kept the letter.
Just now, we have had a somewhat disturbing experience. A disembodied voice has spoken to us all by name, uttering certain accusations against us. Amongst the names received was that of one William Henry Blore, but as far as we know, there is no one named Blore amongst us. The name Davis was not mentioned. What do you have to say about that, Mr. Davis?
Oh, cat's out of the bag. Suppose I better come clean.
You are William Henry Blore?
That's right.
You've never set foot in South Africa, have you? No trace of an accent.
Gentlemen are onto it. I'm ex-Scotland Yard.
A cop.
Private detective. Found out on my own. Owen employed me to keep an eye on you all.
Why?
Didn't say. Just sent a letter with a very healthy check.
Didn't you think to do some research?
He mentioned Mrs. Owen had some valuable jewellery. Wanted to make sure it was safe.
How insulting.
To be honest, Miss Claythorne, I didn't believe that as a Mr. Owen.
Listen to this. Ulick Norman Owen, Una Nancy Owen, each time that is to say UN Owen. Or with a little imagination, unknown.
May I have your
God, turn it
attention,
off!
I'm
please?
sorry, I bumped it.
How's your wife?
Sleeping soundly. Thank you.
Whoever it is who enticed us here, that person has taken a great deal of trouble to find out about it. An unknown friend accuses me of the murder of one Edward Seaton. I remember Seaton perfectly well. He came to me before the trial of June 1948, charged with the murder of an older woman. He was well defended, made a good impression on the jury, nevertheless, on evidence he was certainly guilty. I passed the death sentence. His appeal was denied and he hung. Not my fault. My conscience is clear on the matter.
Did you know Mr. Seaton?
I knew nothing of Seaton before the trial.
She's lying.
I beg your pardon?
Nothing.
He's a madman! An absolute madman! I never sent anyone to their deaths! Arthur Richmond was one of my finest officers, and I sent him on reconnaissance. It was bad luck, and I would just like to say he was never my wife's lover. I deeply, deeply resent the accusation. She was a wonderful, wonderful woman.
Well, I did run over a couple of kids.
Accident? They just ran out into the road. Just ask my lawyer. I lost my license for a year. A year!
There was some mention of me and Irina, and her great aunt Jennifer. It's true that we'd been looking after her. She and Irina were very close. But her heart was always weak. The night she had an attack, there was a storm, and we lost reception. We couldn't rouse the neighbors. It was 4 a.m, for Christ's sake. And so I walked, and I reached the doctor's home, but it was too late.
And you didn't think to drive her to the emergency yourself?
I can't drive. I never learned. Neither did Mrs. Rogers. It's true!
We believe you, Mr. Rogers.
Edited a nice sum of money, I suppose.
Just the house. It's not a big house. We did our best!
Calm down, Mr. Rogers. Mr. Blore.
Aye.
Your name was on the list.
Oh. Aye, London, you mean?
I remember the case, though I didn't preside over it. You were the officer in charge.
He robbed a bank. It was a clear case right from the start.
He died in prison.
He was weak. I was just doing my duty. Oh, God, I'm hungry. Is there anything to eat? Rogers, I would kill for a steak.
Oh, yes, of course. I'll organize something. My apologies.
Dr. Armstrong.
No recollection of the case. Who was it? Close. Never heard of the woman. Possibly connected to another operation in the hospital. They come too late, you see, and then they die, and it's all the fault of the doctor.
Ms. Claythorne.
I was employed as a nanny to Peter Hamilton. We were at the seaside and he was forbidden to swim too far out. One day when my attention was distracted, he took off. I tried to swim after him, but there was a rip. I couldn't get there.
Was there an inquest?
Yes. I was exonerated. The mother never blamed me.
Thank you. Miss Brent. I have nothing to say. Nothing. You reserve your defense.
There is no question of my defense. I have always acted according to the dictates of my conscience.
What a law-abiding lot we all are.
We're still waiting for your story, Captain Lombard.
Oh, I'm guilty as charged.
What do you mean?
Sorry to disappoint you all, but what you heard was perfectly true. In my case...
You abandoned your men?
Yes. An act of self-preservation. I don't relish the idea of dying.
Our inquiry rests there.
I've made sandwiches for everyone.
Who else is on the island besides ourselves and your wife, Mr. Rogers?
Nobody. Nobody at all.
Quite sure?
Quite sure.
Oh, Mr. Rogers, don't go. I am unsure to the purpose of our host getting us all to assemble here, but I don't believe he is sane in the accepted sense of the word.
He definitely does have a screw missing.
Loose, I think the term is.
He may be dangerous. We need to leave this place as soon as
Very much.
I'm sorry, but there's no boat on the island.
No boat at all.
Well, use a telephone, man.
There is no phone. We're trapped.
No phone.
It's true. Nargot comes every morning, and he delivers milk, bread, and post. And he takes orders.
We're trapped.
Trapped on an island with a bunch of old people who may as well be dead. Except for you. I like you.
Lucky me.
Stop it now, Sophie.
What are you doing, lass?
Little actress. Sophie.
Get up, lass. Get up.
My God. She's dead.
Incredible.
In the middle of life, we are in death.
How did she die?
By the smell of it, potassium cyanide.
We all drank from the same bottle. She must have put the stuff in herself.
Why would she suicide? She had so much to live for.
Oh, look, one of the little soldiers in the cabinet is missing. Been right to the top. No sign of that boat yet.
Still very early.
Narcot's supposed to bring milk and bread and all that. What a year by now.
How's the weather looking?
There's a storm.
I wish that boat would come. The sooner we get off the island, the better. And where's Roger?
Think he got a nasty shock last night?
Yes, horrible, the whole thing.
How would he be surprised if he and his wife did bump off her hand? If you're asking for my professional opinion.
No one was asking Mr. Blore.
Really? Why?
I never saw a man more scared. Guilty as hell, I should say.
Absurd!
Then there was that poor girl's suicide. Wait till that it's the press.
You think it was suicide, Dr. Armstrong?
What else could it be? Where is she, by the way?
In the study. Put her body there myself.
Horrible.
Don't suppose he's done a runner.
Who? Rogers? But there's no boat on the island.
Ah, but we only have his word
Last
for it.
night, I dreamed of Leslie.
What was that, General?
My wife Leslie. I dreamed of her.
I see.
No, you don't see? How strange. How strange life is.
Aye. What?
Best to leave him to his own thoughts, I think.
The psychiatrist. You know, I had a detective's insight in the night. This, Mr. Unknown Owen. Suppose he's on the island somewhere.
But it would be impossible for someone to tamper with Miss Sophie's drink without our seeing him.
Don't you know about that, Dr. Armstrong? The criminal mind is a cunning machine.
She's Oh God, she's...
What is it, Tom? What's the problem?
Doctor, can you come with me, please?
Yes, of course. Don't leave the island without me.
Hurry.
Yes. I wish that boat would come. I hate this place.
The sooner the better. You need to get in touch with the police.
Police?
Police need to be informed of a suicide, Miss Claythorne. The press will have a field day, given who she is.
I can't say I warned her, but to die so young...
God, I'm hungry. Who's for some breakfast? Doesn't he look like the Rogers will be doing the job this morning?
Are you hungry, General?
Leslie! Leslie!
No, I want a Vera Claythorne.
Oh, I'm sorry, my dear. I thought you were my wife. I'm waiting for her, you see.
I thought your wife passed away, General.
Yes, yes. So did I, but I was wrong. She's here, on the island.
Good morning.
Good morning, Captain Lombard.
I seem to have slept in.
Like the rain.
Has the boat arrived?
No.
Bit late, isn't it?
Aye.
Good morning. You and I could have had a swim before breakfast.
Too bad you slept in.
You must have nerves of steel to sleep through all this.
I never lose sleep.
Really? Did you dream of dead soldiers in Africa?
Did you dream of bank robbers wasting away in prison?
Bank robbers don't waste away.
They do if they're innocent.
I resent that accusation, Captain Lombard.
Well, I resent your accusation, William.
Stop arguing, you two.
He started it. What's for breakfast?
Nothing, unless you get it
The
yourself.
staff seems to have gone on strike.
Be quiet for a minute. Look at this. Do you remember we found one of the 10 soldiers missing last night?
Yes, which leaves 9.
No, there are only 8.
Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. She's right.
Probably only 9 to begin with. We assume there were 10 because of the rhyme.
I'm sure there were 10 last night.
What's the matter?
Irina Rogers is dead. Died in her sleep. Rogers thought she was still sleeping after the sedative I gave her. So he came down and fixed up this room. When she didn't appear, he checked in on her. Been dead 5 hours, I'd say. God.
What was it? Heart?
Possibly.
Could have been poisoned with the same stuff as
No, not cyanide. Some narcotic. Barbiturate, something like that.
You gave her sleeping pills last night, didn't you?
I gave her Valium.
And gave her too much, did you?
What do you mean by
Calm
that?
down, doctor. It's got my detective power. I was thinking that...
The amount I gave her couldn't have hurt anyone.
And what did happen?
Impossible to say without an autopsy.
With a private patient, what would be your procedure?
Without knowledge of the woman's previous state of health, I could certainly not issue a death certificate.
Perhaps the shock of last night caused her heart to fail.
Her heart certainly failed, but what caused it to fail?
Conscience.
What do you mean by that?
You all heard. She was accused, together with her husband, of having deliberately murdered her great aunt, an old lady.
And you believe that's true, Miss Briggs?
On hearing the news, she broke down completely and fainted. The shock of having her wickedness brought home was too much for her to bear. She literally died of guilt.
Can someone die of guilt?
An act of God.
I doubt God had anything to do with it.
You regard it as impossible that a sinner should be struck down by the wrath of God. I do not. In all my experience of crime, Miss Brent, life leaves justice to us mortals. There are no shortcuts.
Let's be practical. What did the woman have to eat and drink last night?
Nothing.
A cup of tea, a glass of water.
Rogers assured me she had nothing.
Perhaps he just said that.
So what's your idea?
You heard the accusation. What if it's true? Rogers and his wife did the old lady in. They're feeling quite safe and happy about it. There's no danger to them. Then bang! Last night, some lunatic goes and spills the beans. What happens? She completely cracks. Doesn't he have the nerve to tough out and threatens to give the whole game away? She's a living danger
Get
to
to
her
the
husband.
point, William.
He drops something lethal into her tea, washes the cup and saucer, and tells the doctor she's had...
That's impossible. I don't believe he would do that, not to his wife.
You'd be surprised, Miss Claythorne, what some husbands would do.
Excuse me, Miss Claythorne. I'm getting on with breakfast. I can't promise anything fancy for lunch, I'm afraid. I'm not much of a cook.
Lunch? Lunch? We will only be here for lunch. And when the hell is that boat coming?
There will be no boat! What? Now our cot is always here before 8. Is there anything else that you require, Miss Claythorne?
No, thank you, Mr. Rogers.
Please, call me Tom.
Thank you, Tom. I'll come give you a hand with breakfast.
Oh! So it is me, Rogers. No husband would do that to his wife. His wife is lying dead upstairs, and there he is cooking bacon and eggs and talking about lunch and call me Tom. Now he says the boat won't be coming. How the hell does he know that?
Lord,
What?
He's in shock!
The really significant thing is the failure of the boat to arrive, which means we are being deliberately cut off from
There's very little time. Very little time.
What was that, General?
Very little time. We mustn't waste it talking about things that do not matter.
Why do you think the boat hasn't arrived?
I think Mr. Owen has given orders.
Can't we light a bonfire on the top of the island? A signal?
He would have thought of that. All signals are being ignored. We're completely cut off.
There must be something we can do.
There is something we can do. We can find out who this hilarious Mr. Unknown Owen is. I'll bet you anything he's somewhere on the island. And the sooner we get a hold of him, the better. Because in my opinion, he's as cunning as a rattlesnake.
I don't think that simile fits, Captain Lombard. A rattlesnake at least gives warning of its approach.
A warning?
The soldiers.
Yes. You're right, that's our warning. 10 little soldier boys. There were 10 of us after Narracot went, right? 10 little soldier boys going out to dine. One went and choked himself, and then there were 9. Sophie Marston choked herself, didn't she? 9 little soldier boys stayed up very late.
One overslept himself. And then there were 8.
Irina Rogers.
Overslept herself. You don't think? Do you mean he wants to kill us all?
Maybe.
And each death will match the rhyme. It's coincidence, that's all!
Only 8 little soldier boys here now. I suppose that's a coincidence too. What do you think, Lord?
I really hate to admit it, but I think you're onto something.
But there's nobody else on the island!
I wouldn't even be so sure of that.
None of us will ever leave this island.
Can't somebody shut Grandpa up?
The sooner we get to work, the better. Lord, let's go. We'll scour the island until we find this maniac.
Don't suppose anybody's got a revolver? No, didn't think so.
I've got one.
Really?
You can never fully trust anyone.
I'm not gonna ask you for that.
Not before I shoot you.
You know, there is a homicidal maniac on the island. He's probably got a whole arsenal on him. Your handgun, while they cut it.
Most homicidal maniacs are quite unassuming people.
They're often very civilized.
Just you search the house and I'll do the island.
I'll come.
Oh, not a good idea, Penelope. No offense, but it's not a woman's job. Best leave it to the professionals.
If you say so.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Oh!
My father taught me. He wanted me to be able to protect myself.
Well done, Penelope.
Are there any more objections to me searching the island?
No, of course not. You should go.
Right. Life is unpredictable. House should be easy. No sliding panels or secret doors.
Don't be too sure of that.
Mind it doesn't get to you before you get to him.
Don't worry. But you two had better stick together. Remember, one got left behind.
After you, Penelope.
Dr. Armstrong.
A curious fellow, Captain Lombard.
Don't you think he's right? If there is someone on the island, they'll find them. It's practically bare rock.
I think this problem needs brains to solve it, rather than brawn. One thing I have been blessed with is intellect. I'm going outside to sit and think.
Where did I put the rest of my knitting?
Did you leave it upstairs? I'll check.
No, I'll go. I know where it's likely to be.
I'm glad Lombard has a gun.
I do wish I could find Leslie. You would have liked her.
Would I?
She was so vibrant. I loved her so very much. But I was older than her. She was only 27, you know. He was 26. Arthur Richmond, my adjutant. I thought she took a motherly interest in him. They got on so well. Then I got the letter on leave. She put the wrong letter in the wrong envelope.
Oh, General.
I loved her so much. But a slow, murderous rage built up inside me. I liked the boy. I trusted him. And he'd betrayed me. I sent him to his death. Told him it was just a routine patrol. I knew there were enemy there. Didn't tell him. Leslie never knew. I didn't tell her. We went on as usual. Somehow nothing was quite real anymore. She died of pneumonia. She had a heart-shaped face and grey eyes. And hair that...
General!
A curious kind of murder. I've always been so law-abiding. It's good. Now that the end is coming...
What do you mean?
You don't understand. I thought you would. Thought you'd be glad, too, that the end is coming. We're all going to die, you know. It's inevitable. Don't speak to me that way. I'm going to sit out here and wait. Wait for Leslie to come to me.
All correct. No secret passage, 2 corpses.
Don't do that.
What's the matter?
The thought of my imminent death by nursery rhyme is bothering me slightly, that's all.
Drink?
A drink. There are 2 dead bodies in the house, an old man losing his mind, an invisible host who seems hell-bent on killing us all. It's 9 in the morning and you want a drink!
I'll make tea. I've never seen you angry before. It suits you.
Why are you always so cavalier?
Oh, I don't know. Would you prefer I fainted?
Go away.
Come on, we murderers should stick together.
Leave me alone.
All right. I'm gone.
Unpleasant man. I can't find it anywhere. Is anything the matter?
I'm worried about the general. I think he's having some kind of breakdown.
Looking out for the boat, General. His sin is found out.
Please don't start.
We must face facts. Even if his wife was no better than she should be, and she must have been a depraved woman, he had no right to take judgment into his own hands.
What about Beatrice Taylor? That was her name, wasn't it?
Beatrice Taylor was my niece. Her parents asked if she could stay with me in the city while she trained as a nurse. I agreed, believing it to be my Christian duty. Besides, she appeared respectable and well-mannered. But it was all a pretense. No sooner had she moved in, she'd had a young man in my house. He was foreign. He wanted to become a citizen, had some papers he needed to lodge. Well, he never lodged those papers.
Why not?
Because I burnt them. He was sent back to where he came from.
And she...
Yes.
How old was she?
17.
Only 17?
Old enough to know better. I told her what a despicable individual she was having carnal relations in my house. I told her I felt soiled having her under my roof.
You told a girl of 17?
I have no patience with this indulgence towards sin.
And you turned her out of the house?
Of course.
What did you feel like when she...
Drowned herself?
You didn't blame yourself?
What on earth for? The girl was unbalanced. The heathen are sunk down in the pit that they made. The Lord is known by the judgment he executeth, and the wicked is snared in the work of his own hand.
Breakfast is ready.
The wicked shall be turned into hell.
Do you know where the elders are?
Shall not the isle shake at the sound of the fall, when the wounded cry, when the slaughter is made in the midst of thee?
Breakfast is ready.
Then all the princes of the sea shall come down from their thrones, and lay away their robes, and pull off their broidered garments. They shall clothe themselves with trembling. They shall sit upon the ground and shall tremble at every moment and be astonished at thee.
Any luck?
No cover on the island. No caves, no trees. Nowhere to hide.
Definitely no one in the house.
Breakfast is ready.
Come on, General. Breakfast is ready. Let's eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die.
Such levity is inappropriate.
Quite right. As always, Miss Brent.
General, it's breakfast. There'll be nothing left. I think you should all come in here.
Why is it, Villa? What's going on? What's happening? What's the matter?
One got left behind. There's a knife in Mackenzie's bag.
And another soldier missing.
But there's only us on the island. There is only one place where a murderer could hide and have a reasonable chance of getting away with it.
One place. Where?
Where?
Where, Judith?
Here.
this room. Mr. Owen is one of us.
Look, I wanted to get you alone. Look, you were right in what you said this morning. The murderer is one of us. And I think I know who. Ever hear of the Lizzie Borden case in America? Old couple killed in the middle of the morning with an axe. Only person who could have done it was the daughter, a respectable middle-aged Spencer.
You think the murderer is Emily Brent?
You see her before? She's as mad as a her. She's a religious dog. She isn't scared at all. And you know why? Because she knows she's in no danger.
We've made some coffee. It's very cold in here. You were right to insist on lunch. I feel much better now.
The court always adjourns for lunch.
What are we going to do?
We are going to hold an informal court inquiry. Eliminate some innocent people.
You don't have a hunch, do you, Vera?
Well, if I thought it was either of you two, it would be awkward, wouldn't it?
Aye, well, I hope you didn't think it was me.
I think it's Penelope Armstrong.
Dr. Armstrong?
Really?
It would be much easier for her being a doctor. She could easily administer an overdose.
True, but someone else gave her brand.
Your husband would have had a good opportunity of administrating a drug.
Oh, I don't think it's Rogers. Something tells me he has the up to it.
There's a hell of a storm out there.
Oh, it's only you.
Who did you think it was? Beatrice Taylor?
No hope of rescue till this dies down. Is this coffee? Taken to coffee now, see?
Inebriates.
Is anyone a swimmer? Someone could swim to the mainland, get help.
It's 2.5 miles, and in this weather you'd drown.
Drowned. Drowned in a pond. Are you all right, Miss Brent?
Oh, jeez. Oh, it's so cold in here.
I could light a fire if you would like.
Could you? That would be lovely.
Yes, of course. Does anybody know what can come of the top bathroom shower curtain?
The shower curtain.
Yes. It's a red oilskin, and it's missing.
Anyone seen a red oilskin shower curtain? No good, I'm afraid, Rogers.
Doesn't matter, it's just odd. That's all.
Everything on this island is odd.
I'll go collect some sticks and get a nice fire going.
I'll go give Rogers a hand.
Where's Armstrong?
She's gone to her room to rest.
Probably been murdered by now.
It's not going to be so easy now we're all in a gap.
Even so, I'd like to suggest some safety measures.
Against who?
Against each other, of course. Of the 10 who came to this island, 3 are definitely in the clear. That leaves 7 little soldier boys.
One of whom is criminally insane.
Exactly.
Well, despite what others may think, I think you and Dr. Armstrong are above suspicion. You're both prestigious members of your fields recognised right across the country.
Mr. Bloor, judges have gone mad before, so have doctors and policemen.
Did he need any help?
No, he's fine. Do you think Penelope would like some coffee? I'll take some up to her.
I'll take it. I have to get changed.
I think Penelope would rather see me. She may be afraid of your gun.
I'd like to know why you brought a gun down here on what was supposed to be a social district.
I like to have a gun handy. It's a good feeling, don't you think?
Don't waste my time.
Is this about the gun?
He's lying.
I got an invitation from Mr. and Mrs. Owen instructing me to come down here for the weekend. I was instructed to keep an eye on the guests and to bring my gun. So there you have it.
I would have never fallen for that.
Well, I did. I was bored. It's an intriguing proposition. It appealed to my, I don't know, something other than the bloody boredom of ordinary life. Are you going to arrest me?
Why don't you go and get changed?
I'm going.
Oh, I don't trust a word of that. He's a bad egg. I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw
We
him.
must get out of here! We must get out of here before it's too late! The one thing we must not do is give in to our nerves.
Yes, I know. I need to get a grip. Sleeping badly?
Yes, I keep dreaming. A hospital, a knife at my throat.
Real nightmares?
Yes. Do you ever dream you're in court sentencing someone?
If you're referring to a man named Edward Seaton, I can assure you I should not lose any sleep over his death. The jury liked him. They were inclined to let him off. But I saw through his little act. I cooked Seaton's goose!
Oh, so cold in here.
I wish Rogers would hurry up.
Aye, where is Rogers? He's been a long time.
He was just collecting sticks.
Sticks. Sticks. My God! Sticks! Is there another one gone? Is there only six?
There are only five! Rogers and Longbow!
Roger! Roger!
What's okay? Here.
Have you seen Rogers?
No, why should I?
2 more soldiers are gone! 2? I thought it was you.
Lord, what is it?
Oh, in the scullery.
Is he?
Oh, yes, he's dead all right.
How?
Someone must have come up behind him with an axe while he was bent over at the wood box.
And then there were 6.
What's next? Bees? Do they keep a hive on the island? Well, that's the next verse, isn't it? 6 little soldier boys playing with a hive. A bumblebee stung one. And then there were 5. We all look pretty alert. My God. You don't think... A hypodermic syringe.
The modern bee sting.
While she was sitting there. One of us.
One of us.
One of us.
Soldier boys sitting in a row, watching each other and waiting for the blow.
Bad taste.
Just trying to lighten the mood. Damn that generator dying. I know. Let's play a game. I've just invented one called suspicion. A suspects B, B suspects C, C suspects D, and so on and so on. Let's start with you, Blore. That's an easy one. It's obvious. I'm your chief suspect, aren't I?
Why wouldn't they say that?
You'd be wrong, though. Abstract justice isn't my thing. If I committed a murder, it'd have to be something in it for me.
Look, all I say is you've acted suspiciously since the start. You've told 2 different stories, you came in with a gun, and now you claim to have lost it.
I have lost it.
That's a likely story.
Well, what do you think I've done with it? Search me, go on, search me.
You don't have it on you. You're too clever for that. But you know what it is.
You mean I've hidden it ready for next time?
And shouldn't it be surprised?
Why don't you use your brains, William? If I wanted to, I could have shot the lot of you by now.
That's not the way you do things, is it?
You mean the nursery rhyme? I'm not insane.
The doctor here says there are some lunatics you'd never know were lunatics. Isn't that right, doctor?
Why are we sitting here doing nothing? Surely there's something we can do. Why don't we light a bonfire?
In this weather.
It is, I'm afraid, a question of time and patience. The weather will clear, then we can do something. Light a bonfire, signal.
A question of time. Time?
We haven't got any time! We'll all be dead! Wolf is one! He's thinking up something right now!
Louise. What was her name? Cleese. Was it the nurse that finished her off, Doctor?
Drink! I used to be a heavy drinker. It's hard being a woman in this profession. I worked my way up despite
ostracized, not accepted into the men's club where they'd unwind after an 18-hour day in theatre. So I drank alone, to excess, to spite them all. Soon I couldn't stop drinking a bottle of vodka for breakfast. So there you have it. I was drunk when I operated. Quite a simple operation, but my hand was shaking all over the place. I still remember Louise Cleese, a homely woman with a beautiful smile. And I killed her!
So it was right. That's how it was.
A nursing sister knew, of course, but she was loyal to me or to the hospital. And I gave up the drink. I gave it up! Altogether. And I went in for psychiatry.
Successfully.
Yes, 1 or 2 experiences with successful women, and before long, I was at the top of the tree.
Until Mr. Unknown Owen. And down will come Cradle, Doctor and all.
Will you stop sneering and joking?
Right. We can't afford to quarrel.
Of course. You're right. I apologize.
I'm sorry too. I just wish we could do something.
We are adopting the only measures possible.
But we can't go on like this. We shall need food, sleep.
Obviously. The murderer's only chance is to get one of us detached from the rest. So long as we prevent that, we are safe.
Safe.
You're very silent, Vera.
It's this awful waiting. Waiting for hours to go by and feeling like they might be the last. What time is it?
8:30.
Is that all?
The weather's still bad.
Murray's got everything on his side. Even the weather is falling into his plan.
Oh, how about something to eat?
If you like, I'll go make some sandwiches and some coffee, but you four stay here!
It may not be advisable to eat or drink something prepared out of sight.
You don't like me, do
It's
you?
not a question of likes or dislikes.
Very few things get past you, do they, Judith?
Hardly the time, Philip, for any of us to indulge in the luxury of offence.
I don't think it's Bloor. He hasn't the imagination.
Oh, thank you. So kind.
I don't think it's the doctor. She hasn't the nerve. You have plenty of nerve, Vera. But you strike me as eminently sane. You'd only engage in murder if you had a thoroughly good motive.
I just thought of something. That man says he's a police officer, but we've no proof of that.
He's a police officer. Look at his feet.
That's enough.
Vera suspects you, Doctor. Oh, yes, she does. It's all quite neat, really. I suspect Judith, William suspects me, you suspect William, and Vera suspects you. Who do you suspect, Judith?
Very early on, I formed a certain conclusion. Everything that has occurred has pointed quite unmistakably to that one person. I'm still of that opinion.
Well, who is it?
It may not be advisable to mention that person's name at the present time.
Inadvisable in the public interest.
Exactly.
I'm going to get a pack of biscuits. Man, can he live on air alone?
William,
Aye.
make sure it's an unopened packet. Just the wind making the curtains rattle.
What do you think happened to the top bathroom curtain, the one Rogers missed?
I can't see what an assassin would want with a shower curtain.
Things seem to have been disappearing. Emily Brent lost a bowl of wool.
So the murderer is a kleptomaniac,
How
too.
does it go? 5 little soldier boys.
Going in for law. One got in chancery.
In chancery? But how could that apply unless...
Exactly. That's why I'm sitting here not moving.
But I'm casting you in the role of murderer, not victim.
The term can apply to a boxer.
Boxer.
Chancery hold, fight technique.
Nursery rhyme is going round and round in my head. I think I'll remember it till I die. William's been a long time.
Probably being eaten.
Oh, I'm so cold.
Why don't you get your coat? It'll be a long night.
I'll get it.
No, it's all right. I know where it is. But nobody go anywhere.
Who's for some whiskey?
Good idea. Make it an unopened bottle.
Judge of excellent.
I can't stand the dog. You don't know where anything is.
I've got some matches.
Where's Penelope?
Don't worry about that. Get some more candles.
Oh, it's horrible. It went round my throat.
What did?
The window was open in my room and blew out all the candles. When I opened the door, a long strand of seaweed touched my throat. In the dark, I thought it was being strangled by a wet hand.
No wonder you hear.
Who hung the seaweed there?
I don't know, but when I find out, they'll be sorry they were born.
Who's that? It's only me, Vera, don't worry.
There we are. Now, who fired that shot?
Shot in the head. One got in Chancery. And then there were four.
Vera.
You got me out of the way. You got me to go upstairs in my coat. You put the seaweed there.
No,
You
I
did it
didn't.
all so you could kill that helpless woman.
No.
Just like you killed Louise Cleese.
No, I didn't.
You're mad. That's why you wanted the red curtain and the annual. It was all planned long ago for that purpose. Oh my God, let me out of here.
Three little soldier boys sitting all alone, thinking as they guzzle. Who's the next to go?
Stop it.
I needed that. Feel like a new man.
I was starving.
Nearly 24 hours without food is depressing.
I feel much more in control now.
Don't forget there's a murderer on the loose.
We know now beyond any possible doubt who it is.
I said all along it was Penelope Armstrong.
You did. We should have listened to you, Vera. You've the cunning of a sewer rat.
Thank you.
So what's happened to her?
We know what she wants us to think.
What exactly did you find?
One shoe. Sitting prettily on the cliff edge. Inference. Dr. Penelope Armstrong has gone completely off her onion and committed suicide.
All very circumstantial. Even the detail of one soldier missing by the doorway.
It was overkill. I mean, who would think to do that if they're about to drown themselves?
Exactly. But she had to make it appear as if she was the seventh victim.
Suppose she really is dead.
I'm suspicious of death without bodies.
It's freaky to think there are 5 dead bodies in the study and we're out here eating sandwiches.
6 dead bodies.
Oh no, she's right. There are only 5.
No, you're wrong. Sophie Marston, 1. Irina Rogers, 2. General Mackenzie, 3. Tom Rogers, 4. Emily Brent, 5. And Jude Wargrave, 6.
7, 8, 9, and 10. You're right. That's my mistake.
How did Armstrong get a hold of the gun?
No idea.
Tell me exactly what happened in the night.
Well, after you locked yourself in your room, we thought we all better lock ourselves in our room. So we went to bed.
About an hour later, I heard someone pass my door. I went to Blaw's room and checked if he was there. He was there, all right. Then I went to Penelope's room. It was empty. That's when I went to you and told you to sit tight, no matter what happened. I came down here and the balcony was open. My revolver was lying just beside it.
Why wouldn't Penelope keep the revolver?
Don't ask me. She's crazy.
Where do you think she is?
Lurking somewhere. Waiting to have a crack at
We
one of
should
us.
search the house.
And walk into an ambush.
What should we do then?
Nothing. Sit tight.
Not me. I'm going after her.
You're like a dog with a bone. By the way, now that we're friends, you did go in for perjury, didn't you?
Might as well tell you now. Blender was innocent. Me and the gang squared him, and between us, we put him away for the stage.
Well, I'm glad you're off your virtuous high perch. You made a tidy sum.
Not nearly as much as I should have. They're a ruthless lot, that Benny gang. But I got my promotion.
And an innocent man gets a life sentence in prison.
I didn't know he was gonna die.
No, that was bad luck.
His, you mean?
Yours too. You could be dead soon as a result of your corruption.
Not me. I'm on the lookout.
I have a gun.
About that?
Not a chance.
If you were on it, you would throw it down.
Who said I'm honest?
Look, I said I'd go through the house looking for Penelope. So why don't you give me the gun?
Because it's mine.
Oh, then you know what I'm beginning to think.
Oh, we've heard it all before. You think I'm Mr. Unknown.
You're both behaving like children. Of course Philip is an unknown Owen because Mr. Unknown Owen is Penelope Armstrong. I have proof.
What proof?
Think of the rhyme. 4 little soldier boys going out to sea. A red herring swallowed 1 and then there were 3. Don't you see the subtlety of it? A red herring. That's Penelope's pretend suicide, so she isn't really dead.
Oh, ingenious.
She takes the childish pleasure in sticking to the rhyme. Dressing up the judge, killing Rogers when he was collecting sticks and using the syringe on Miss Brent. She's got to make it all fit perfectly.
And there's our clue for where do we go from here. 3 little soldier boys walking in the zoo. A big bear hugged one, and then there were 2. We'll have a job with that. There's no bear on the island. Why don't we crack a bottle of beer?
What's that? A ball! A ball!
That's the end of William. Booby trap. Wire set across the door to something above.
Is he?
Yes. Crushed in. That great one's there holding a clock from the landing above.
And then there were two. Oh, it's no use. We'll never get away from this island!
Yes, we will. We haven't been beaten yet.
I can feel someone watching us now.
It's your imagination.
You can't feel it?
No, I don't.
I need to get out of this house.
Okay. We'll go to the top of the island and wait for relief to come. There's a sheer cliff on the other side, so we can see if anyone comes from the house. I'll investigate.
Be careful, Philip.
I will.
What? What is it?
It's Penelope. Drowned. Washed up at high tide.
So there's no one on the island? No one except us?
Yes, Vera. Now we know where we are.
Now we know where we are.
I was ingenious with the wire. Well done! Judith knew you were dangerous.
What are you talking about?
So you did drown that kid after all.
I did not!
The truth, Vera!
You want the truth?
Yes!
I didn't kill the boy, someone else did!
Who?
A man. Peter's older stepbrother. I was in love with him.
This is getting interesting.
When Peter's father remarried, the estate was diverted to the child. Hugh lost his inheritance.
Wicked stepsibling.
Yes! Self-centered and cruel. But I couldn't see it. Love is blind. There was a rock fire out that Peter wanted to swim to. Of course I wouldn't let him. I went back to get something, and when I came back, Peter was swimming to the rock. I tried to swim after him, but Hugh stopped me. Don't be a fool, he said! I told the little bastard he could go.
Go on.
I managed to get away from him. I jumped in, but it was too late. He'd gone before I could get to him.
And you didn't think to mention Hugh at the inquest?
Who would have believed me?
You'd be surprised. You're a good liar.
You can't believe the truth when you hear it.
Who said they tried to kill Bloor? I didn't. And Armstrong's dead. I'm no saint, but I'm no murderer.
What about those soldiers?
I don't talk about it because it's just my word.
Try.
What's the point?
Just tell the story!
The story? Our radio was shut up, and we were cut off from the tally. Jerry was all over us. The story is that I'd sent two men to get help. They both copped it. I couldn't ask another, so I went. I got through somehow. But by the time I'd commandeered a Bren gun carrier, my men were dead. And the rumor got around that I deliberately abandoned my men.
Why should I believe that? You admitted the whole thing before in front of everybody.
I got a kick out of watching their faces.
Can't fool me with your stupid lies!
Go to hell! I'll shoot.
You're mad.
Perhaps.
You win. You, but you're...
Silence in the court! If there is any more noise, I shall have the court cleared. My dear, don't be frightened. This is a court of justice, and you'll get justice here. You thought I was dead. Oh, Penelope Armstrong said I was dead. Convinced her to fix up my death so I'd be free to spy on the murderer. She thought it was an excellent plan. Came out that night to meet me without any suspicion. She swallowed my red herring all right. I pushed her off the cliff, so easy. She'd had a few drinks. Why? Why? Well, that's a good question. You see, from my earliest youth, I realized that my nature was a mass of contradictions. I was born with a definite sadistic delight in seeing or causing death. I remember experiments with wasps and garden pests. I knew very strongly the lust to kill. But I was also compelled by justice, and the legal profession satisfied nearly all my instincts. I relished my privilege as a judge. The thought of a criminal festering in some hellhole or swinging from a noose caused me enormous pleasure. But the ability to kill often enough was denied me. I wanted more.
You're unhinged.
I'll shoot you! My dear, there are no more bullets. I sent those off with Penelope Armstrong. Sophia Marsden first, Barberton in her June, Mackenzie stabbed, got Rogers with an axe chopping wood, doped Emily Brent's coffee so she wouldn't feel the hypodermic needle, booby trapped for Blore. Blore was a fool. It was a clever touch returning that revolver. It made the end interesting. I knew you two would suspect each other in the end, but the question was who would win. Prisoner at the bar, have you anything to say my sentence should not be passed?
I'm innocent.
Be quiet.
But I am!
Elizabeth Claythorne, I sentence you to death!
Stop! I'm not guilty! I'm not guilty!
They all say that you must plead not guilty. Unless, of course, you're going all out for a verdict of insanity, but you're not mad. I'm mad! But you're not.
I'm innocent. I swear it. I never killed that boy. I tried to find him. I tried so hard to save him.
So you didn't kill the little boy after all?
I could never kill a child.
That's annoying. Doesn't matter much now, does it? Can't spoil my lovely ride.
You're sick.
I am sick. Well done, Miss Claythorne. Profoundly sick. Pancreatic cancer, to be precise. The hardest to diagnose until, of course, it's too late. And alas, it's too late for me. So since I was already dying, I thought, why not have a little fun? Create some theatre to entertain myself. A childish rhyme, 10 little soldier boys. It really did fascinate me as a child. The inexorable diminishment. The sense of inevitability.
You want me to commit suicide in front of you?
I wasn't sure it would be you, my dear, but I was very impressed by your daring and resourcefulness.
What if I refuse?
It's a risk. An interesting psychological experiment. Will the awareness of your own guilt, the state of nervous tension consequent on just having shot a man, be sufficient to cause you to take your own life?
I won't do it.
I see.
I refuse to indulge you.
Well, the end will just have to write itself in another way. You see, I am dying anyway. My last drink. Gin. I've always loved gin. Laced with morphine for a swift and painless death. You see, Narracott will arrive on Monday morning. He will find you and 9 corpses. How will that look? You've already been through one court case that absolves you for murder. Will your reputation survive enough?
You're evil.
On top of that, you just killed the man you love. How will you live with that for the rest of your life? I would get it over with if I were you.
Sophia